Side. This is 12 News Midday.
Thanks for staying with us here on the Midday Show. Richmond leaders finding new ways to address violence within our community. Certainly was a violent weekend here in Richmond, even though the numbers say overall violent crime is down. Police Chief Rick Edwards joining us here on the Midday Show to talk about all that and more. Thank you for being here, sir.
Well, thanks for having me.
So we talk about the numbers. You had that crime briefing, I believe, last week where you guys were talking about how the numbers were looking. Violent crime overall is down in the city. How do you translate that feeling, though, to people so that they say to themselves, hey, I feel safer in the city?
Well, certainly the perception of crime is always sometimes different. If it happens to you, I don't care what any spreadsheet says, you're going to feel it. So it's important for us to not only get that message out there, but one of the things we're trying to do right now, we're seeing a spike in the East End. We've had some incidents in Fairfield Court. So we're focusing our resources there. Certainly over the weekend, you will notice more police cars out there. You will see officers walking on foot. We're doing something called an outdoor roll call, where we take that roll call that we have usually inside of our buildings and just bring it out to Fairfield, where they're experiencing some gun violence recently. And it's just about that presence as well. And we're gearing up towards Operation Safe Summer, so we're looking forward to that. And we'll start that at the end of May.
I know City Hall also trying to help out with gun violence too. The mayor announcing a new initiative as well. Talk to me about that and how you expect all that to work in tandem to help address gun violence.
Well, I think the mayor is obviously interested in providing hiring a coordinator for gun violence prevention. And I think when you think of gun violence prevention, most people just think of the police, but there's obviously other city entities who are working towards that goal. And almost as importantly is we have an incredible amount of nonprofits and people of goodwill in our city that want to help. And I think what this new position will do, it'll enable the mayor to get briefed daily by that person, but also to really kind of wrangle all these folks and make sure we're all rowing in the same direction.
Talk to me too. I mean, out of that crime briefing, you all identified 15 gun violence hotspots in the city. What are those? How do you identify those? And then what do you do to help break up that cycle?
So we go back 5 years of data, and then we also look at 6 months of data. So we combine that for 5 specific crimes. So we want to know where our gun-related homicides are, where our non-fatal shooting robberies are, where our non-fatal shooting aggravated assaults, and then 2 other crimes that often get overlooked, but that's shooting into an occupied dwelling and shooting into an occupied vehicle. We feel like those particular crimes are really emblematic of where our future gun violence is. So we surge resources to those spots, and we make sure that officers mark out there. If you look at your phone right now and look at the active calls for service, you'll see a call called the hotspot curve. And that is a 10 to 15 minute visit that officers go and they spend their time there. They maybe get out of their car, they talk to folks. It's not necessarily enforcement, it's deterrence, and also it deters the criminals, but the other benefit that I'm really interested in is the community sees that officer and feels a bit safer.
So talk to me about the Real-Time Crime Center too. How's that helping you all? I know it's been up and running for some time now, coming together a little, piece by piece as it was in the beginning. How is that helping you all, and kind of walk me through? What is it like having that now?
Well, we have technology that we're implementing, and it's a central location where it supports the men and women in the field. So we have officers in the field that now, as they're responding, folks from the Real-Time Crime Center are saying, hey, we're pulling up the cameras. We just saw a person run off in this car. We've solved several cases very quickly using that technology and centralizing it to make our officers more effective and efficient in the field. So it's changed the way we're doing things. I like to say the first year was really kind of walking and crawling. This year we're starting to run, and I'm excited to see where it's going to go.
Awesome. And then 2, Operation Safe Summer. You touched on it for a minute off the top there, but for those at home who don't know what is it? And then also, when will we see the implementation of that again?
Yeah, so when I took over in 2022, I wanted to reinvigorate those partnerships we had with law enforcement professionals from the Virginia State Police and certainly our federal agencies. And so this will be the 3rd year we've used Operation Safe Summer, where we bring in Virginia State troopers to ride with Richmond police officers, and then our federal partners from the FBI, DEA, ATF, and the U.S. Marshals, who are working in areas in those hotspots where we've seen some real crime reduction. So last year at the press conference when we finished Operation Safe Summer, I had the special agent in charge of the Richmond field office for ATF come and talk about what their role was. And they focused on 3 neighborhoods experiencing gun violence. They made arrests, they did search warrants, they seized those Glock switches that everyone's really concerned about. And I think it was a really important information for our community because they see us all the time. What they don't see is the men and women of law enforcement who also have a stake in public safety in Richmond.
Final question for you, sir. What do you think is the biggest challenge for you in the department for the rest of the year?
My biggest concern, and it's something I would like to think that since taking over for about 2.5 years as chief, we've made improvements in everything. Where we're stagnant and what I'm really concerned about is our hiring. So we're continuing, we're not seeing people leave the Richmond Police Department like we did when I took over, but what we're seeing is we're flat. So we're right at about 600 officers. We really need about 750, I think.
Wow.
So that's what I would keeps me up at night, but I'm encouraged. We're gonna graduate the biggest academy class in 2 weeks that we've had, so 23 new officers gonna be hitting the streets. And our hiring, our recruitment's up, but I just would encourage anyone, if you're a person that wants to serve, if you want to have a meaningful life, to consider not only law enforcement, but specifically the Richmond Police Department.
All right. Chief, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thanks,
Thank you for coming in.
Appreciate you.
Time now for forecast. Here's Khalid.